Hi everyone. Um, I'm working on this and I actually want to bring you all in early as I continue to build out this template so I can show you how this works. So we're working with a business, an imaginary business here called Tolani Africana, right? Tolani Africana makes custom dresses for customers and also releases collection. And whenever she's to release a collection, she wants to know the prices of each of the clothes, or whenever she's working with a customer for the first time, she also wants to know how much to charge, what her sales price is. And with this pricing template, she can actually get that. So let me show you how this works. First, we have the constants. These constants are terms you use across the board. In this case, Tolani Africana wants to have a 60% profit on everything she sells. But let's say she wants to have 100% profit on everything she sells. What she's going to do in this case is the first 100% covers the costs and the second 100% covers the profit. So if you're trying to get 60% profit on all your sales, then what you put here is 160%. If you're trying to get 100% profit, then what you want to put here would be 200%. Okay, 200%. Now, Tolani also makes 50 dresses per month. So this is a constant. For those of you who don't know the number of dresses you make per month, this is why you have the order feature on Stylebit, so that you can go back to track how many dresses did I make last month, how many dresses did I make in the month of March, how many dresses did I make in the month of February, and then you get an average of all those dresses. This is how you know how many dresses per outfits per month to put in here. But if you don't have that data already, what you want to do is just project based on your knowledge of your business. How many dresses do you think you can make per month, right? And this is actual dresses you make per month, not projection of maybe how your collection will sell. No, we don't care about that. We only care about what you actually do in your business. So this is how you get your outfit per month. Then, because there are some things that Tolani have to purchase that are based on in the dollar currency, she needs to have an exchange rate for her country. So let's assume that the exchange rate in her country is 1,500. So this is that here. So these are constants. Constants can be used across the board. Now, when you now come down, there are certain items that you need to buy to make up a dress, right? Now, for we have the base items here. These are the base items. All the dresses she's going to make will be needing fabric, they'll be needing threads, they'll be needing stay, they'll be needing zippers, and she will need to pay the people who work on these dresses a wage for each dress they make. Now she have two dresses in her business. One is the Luxor dress, the other is a Ikogosi gown. This Luxor dress uses a sequin, right? And then it uses a regular button, so the button is cheap. This is the reason why the button is not under the base items. If you have a separate item that is separate across the board, you probably want to put it that under like a different section for that specific dress. Now the Ikogosi gown uses a special button. You'd notice that this is 20,000. It's more expensive than this. This is like a golden designer button that she uses to make the Ikogosi gown. Now, this is how it works. These are variable costs, costs that you incur anytime you work on an order. If she does not have a new order, she will never have to spend this money. These are variable costs. Now, fabric. She buys one roll of fabric for 16,000. Notice that I'm not using Naira, I'm not using Rands, I'm not using shillings, I'm not using cedis, because this can be in any currency. So you should use this for your own currency, right? So how much do you buy fabric? If you buy one roll for 16,000, how many yards are in that roll? In this case, there are 16 yards in the roll she purchases. So essentially, the unit cost of each yard is 1,000. Now, in this case, I've already put in the formulas. So if the price of this fabric changed from 16,000 to 20,000, for example, you'd notice that this will update automatically, right? Because I've put in the formulas for you already. So let's take it back to 16,000. So the unit cost is 1,000, and she uses 4 yards for her dresses, which comes to 4,000. In your own case, if you don't use up to 4 yards for your dresses, feel free to change this 4 here to say 3, or if you use 10 yards, feel free to change it to 10. So this is her cost per dress, right? We do the same for thread. She buys a bundle of thread for 1,200. In that bundle, there are 10 threads, and the unit cost for each thread is 120. And when she makes a dress, she uses up 1 thread, so that's 120. If you don't use up to 1 thread, how many dresses do you have to make using 1 thread? In that case, let's say you can make 10 dresses using 1 thread. You want to divide this by 10, so you get your cost per dress. She also uses stay. Stay costs her 400. When she cuts the stay to be used by her tailors, she cuts out 10 pieces, and each of this piece is 40 naira. Is 40. So if we divide 400 by this, you'd see that I've already put in the formula here, and then that's the cost per dress, 40. Same thing with zippers. She buys her zippers for 10,000, and there are 10 in there, and she uses 1. So I've done that. Wages, she pays her workers per dress 8,000, and that's one worker, 1 dress, 8,000. So the unit cost there is still 8,000, and same, the cost per dress is 8,000. Now for the Luxor dress specifically, she uses sequins, and sequins cost her 2,000, and the quantity is just 1 pack. She gets 1 pack of sequins, so the unit cost is also 2,000. And then she can use that pack twice, which means 1,000. So she divided it by 2, which means her cost per dress is 1,000. Same with buttons. Buttons, she buy 5,000. There are 100 pieces of buttons in there, and then she uses when you divide 5,000, the unit cost is 50, probably naira, cedis, whatever, per button. And then she uses 6 buttons per dress. So you multiply that by 6, you get 300. Same with buttons on the Kogosi ground, only that this time the buttons are more expensive, and then you get 1,200. Say for example, in your own business, what you buy your buttons for is like 4,000. Just feel free to change this here, and then you'd see that it automatically updates, right? So you do that. So essentially, for your variable cost, get all your base costs, the things you use for all the clothes you make, and then separate the special items per dress into their own special segments, and then use them this way. This is variable cost. Let's go to fixed cost. Now, for her fixed cost, she pays rent 120,000 a year, and that's 12 months. You want to bring it back down to per month, right? So for 12 months, essentially 10,000 per month, and it means And to get her cost per dress, remember that she makes 50 dresses in a month. Outfits per month is 50. So to get her cost per dress, we said the unit cost, which is 10,000, divided by her outfit per dress. So note that for your own business, if you decide that if you change this outfit per dress to 100, it will automatically update all of this. So because you are making more dresses, your fixed cost is spread a lot more. You are getting more utility out of it, so it reduces all of these ones. Note. So now when we take it back to 50, you see that it increases, it comes back to 200. So once you've set these constants, then you can come and change these variables here, and it's this template is automatically going to help you calculate all of the remaining ones. All you have to do is set the amount, set the quantity, and the unit cost will be calculated, and the cost per dress also will be calculated once you've set those. So the same with electricity. So 20,000 for electricity per month, and the unit cost is 20,000, and the cost per dress is 400. Same with salaries. So she pays herself, she pays her assistant, so 220 per month. Note, you have to pay yourself, important. But she pays herself, she pays her assistant 20,000 per month. And then when you spread it across the dresses, that's 4,400 per dress. She created a marketing budget for herself. So remember, on that day we talked about customer acquisition cost. If you don't know exactly how much it costs you to acquire a customer, the next best thing you can do is create a marketing budget. And then your marketing budget will be will be right here. And then the quantity 1, and then we can also split it up per dress. So in this business, she has a website, so she uses Shopify, and Shopify's pricing is $39 per month. So essentially, we're going to say Shopify is $39 per month multiplied by, let me remove this so you see how we arrived here. So Shopify is 39 per month, but then we need to convert it to the currency she does business in. So multiplied by the 1,500, which is the dollar exchange rate, and it comes down to 58,000 per month. And so she pays on a monthly basis 58,000, and when you spread it, 1,170. She also uses Starbit, and she's on the business plan, so she pays $10 a month, and multiplied by this constant, which is the dollar exchange rate in her country, and then on a monthly basis 15,000. When you spread it across the outfits per month, you get 300. She goes to trade shows, and on an annual basis, she have a budget of 200,000 for trade shows. When you divide that by 12, which is the number of months in a year, you get 16,667 per month. And then when you divide it by the number of dresses she makes, you get 333 per month. Equipment financing, very important. If you have a machine in your office, you need to begin creating a budget for that machine so that when it gets spoiled, you'll be able to replace it. So in her own case, on a monthly basis, she's setting 50,000 aside for all of the machines she have. And let's say in this case, you borrowed the money that you used to buy those machines. It means you can spend this money paying back, right? Or in this case, you had the money you used to buy the machine yourself. You need to put something aside every month so that you can replace those machines when they get bad. If they don't get bad and you still have enough money to buy a new machine, it means good for you. You can actually go out and use that money to buy a machine. So very important, set money aside. In accounting, they call this depreciation. It's a lot of big English, but what it means is putting money aside to make sure that you are able to replace the core machinery you use within your business. So equipment financing 50,000 on a monthly basis. She puts it aside, which means if she spreads it across her customers, it's 1,000. And then other expenses like the mulch she buys for her customers when they come around, all of these little things she spend money on. She budgeted 30,000 per month for that. 30,000, if you spread it, that's 600. So this is how you calculate your variable cost and your fixed cost. Note, not every single thing is in here. So you want to also come in here, the ones that are not useful to your business, remove them. The ones that are useful to your business, add them, and then you can follow the same pattern I used to actually get this done. Now, the sweet part, how do you now get the price of each product? How much should you be selling them for? So now for the Ikogosi gown, what we are going to do is we'll say equal to all of the base costs. So we are going to sum all the base costs. So we sum all of this plus the specific costs for the Ikogosi gown, which is this one, plus all of the what is it called? All of the fixed costs, which is this. And then we're going to sorry, what have I done? And then we're going to multiply this by our profit. So we multiply that by our profit, and then we get the price. Now, you can choose to so this is the price of the Ikogosi gown. Let's do the same for the Luxor dress. For the Luxor dress, we want to sum all the base costs, and then we also do the same for all the fixed costs, and then we add the costs of this Luxor gown specifically, and then we multiply that by the amount of profit we want to have. So this is it. So there's a little bit there's a little bit of error here. So you multiply that by you multiply everything. So without this bracket, we wouldn't have multiplied everything. The same thing we want to do here. We multiply everything by our profit. Now, since I've put in this formula, you don't really have to bother about it. All you have to do is just make sure that all your base costs are captured, and then all the costs for the specific dresses are captured, all the cost prices are captured, and then you multiply by your profits, and then you can actually get the price of your outfits. So this is how you do this. Now, in order for us to round this up and round this to the nearest 100 with this formula. So if you want your price to be like rounded to the nearest 100, you can put in that one, and we can round it to the nearest 100. So rounding it to the nearest 100 gives us 47,400. And we can do the same for this as well. Rounding this to the nearest 100 gives us 47,600. Now, in this case, if you want to round it to the nearest 1,000, you can do the same. So rounding it to the nearest 1,000 gives you 48,000 for both of them. If you also want to round it to the nearest 10,000, you can do the same. So rounding it to the nearest 10,000 gives us 50,000 for both of them, right? But let's round it to the nearest, let's leave it at the nearest 1,000, so we are not adding too much money. So essentially, this is how you arrive at your sales price. So now we know that for the Ikogosi gown, it's going to be costing the sales price, how much we should sell it, that can cover all our costs, but at the same time will also give us 100% profit, would be 48,000. Now, if anything changes at all, if anything changes, take for example, you decide that okay, you want to change the amount of profit to 160%, feel free to just come here and update it, and you'd notice that your sales price will automatically be adjusted. Or take for example, your output increases dramatically and you can actually make 80 outfits per month. Feel free to do the same, and you'd notice that it also affects your prices. So when some of these things change, it means that for you as a business, you can either make more profits if you keep your price the same, or you can give this over to your customer, essentially increasing the number of people that can afford your services, and also be able to access it. So as you become more efficient, you can actually sell more, right? So remember what we talked about with equilibrium. Finding the right equilibrium for you is also very important. So this is how you actually calculate. Sorry, this does not cover anybody's costs. This is just the basic. So that basically just covers the costs without considering what we spend on this. So this is how this template can actually help you get your sales price every single time. So just modify the key figures. So let's take, for example, in your case, you purchase fabric for 20,000, or you go back to the market and they tell you that fabric price has changed to 20,000. Just change fabric price to 20,000 here. You don't have to do anything else. It's automatic. You've automatically keyed in the quantities, the rest, so you have those automatically. And when you come back to the outfit, you'd see the new sales price that you should be selling it for, and you can easily just adjust your prices to suit. So this is how the pricing template works, and this is how to use it. Don't bother about too much about all the formulas I've put in there. In your own case, all you have to do is just adjust the amount of the base stuff you use to make all your dresses, and add any new thing that is not here, and then adjust the quantity to fit your own case, and it will automatically calculate the cost per dress for you. Also do the same for your fixed costs. Remove the ones you don't currently need, and it will automatically calculate for you. And then when you have special things you use in certain dresses that you don't use in others, you want to put them under the name of those dresses. And when you are calculating the price for those dresses, you want to specifically put those in, and it's going to work for you. If you need any help, feel free to reach out to me directly and I'll be able to assist you. Thank you very much.